Hi, today I want to talk to you a little bit. We're just chatting with the audience. I came across an article by Professor Donald Demarco. You may have heard me talk about him before. He is an amazing writer. He's in his 80s now. He doesn't do interviews anymore. I was blessed to have him on my show, The Virtuous Life, for a while, and he was a wonderful interview. But I came across, and I still read him, and I came across one of his articles called The Butterfly Effect. It was called The Butterfly Effect and Life. And I thought, ooh, the butterfly effect. I've heard that before, but I'm not real sure what it is. So I decided to kind of look it up and try to understand it a little bit better. So here's the definition of the butterfly effect. The butterfly effect is a concept within chaos theory that describes how small changes in initial conditions can lead to vastly different outcomes. It's often illustrated by the metaphor that a butterfly flapping its wings in one part of the world could theoretically set off a chain of events leading to a tornado or a tsunami in another part. Now you might say, wow, well, that's kind of interesting. Where did that come from? Well, it came about in the 1960s by a mathematician, Edward Lorenz. Now, I am not a genius in math or in meteorology, but you think about it, he was talking about it from the prospect of meteorology, that it explains kind of these unpredictability in weather systems. But we can see it also in economics, right? That some small change could lead down the road to a larger economic fluctuation. But what Demarco does is he talks about it in a personal life, in your life, that decisions and events that may seem trivial can significantly alter life's trajectories. Now, what does that have to do with our faith, right? Well, I think it has a number of things. I think when we talk about God's providence, our Bishop Thomas, often says, not coincidence, but God's providence, providential. So the idea that we just don't believe in coincidences, we believe that God is at work in our lives, even if we don't understand it, and even if we don't point it out as, yep, that's the hand of God, right? But we believe not only did he create and care and continue to care for his creation, the universe, but he actually cares for me and for you in our individual lives, in what's going on. And so when we think about choices made, how it changes the trajectory of our lives, I just think a move, sometimes changes the trajectory of our lives. Now that may be a big thing, but I look in my life, and a lot of times we don't even see it sometimes as the hand of God. But when we look back over our lives and we go, well, I met that person because I chose to go to this thing, and that person has greatly impacted my life. I think that's how God works. He puts people in our lives. He gives us choices that moves us in a certain trajectory. And I remember reading once that God presents these things to us. The Spirit moves in our lives. And if we don't bite on it, if we don't say yes to it, he offers it to somebody else, to another one of his creatures. And I thought about that in regards to when I was getting ready to teach a class years ago. And I was reading a book on Judaism. And I remember reading a part where a Jewish rabbi said, the whole idea of serving God, why are the Jews called the chosen people? He said, so often people think that sets us apart from everybody else because we were chosen and they weren't. He said, that's not really true. Now, this comes from a rabbi. He said, well, the idea is that God presented this choice to many cultures, and they said, no, we're the chosen people because we chose God. Notice the difference there. God chooses us all. He created us all. But they said yes to God, to believing in one God, to believing in the 10 Commandments, the Mosaic Covenant. That's kind of the way it is, obviously, for all of us. Those choices move us in a different direction in our lives. The people your parents probably told you, right? Choose your friends carefully because they could lead you down the wrong path. One choice, one poor choice can affect the rest of your life. One wonderful choice can impact the rest of your life. And it can be a small choice. You probably remember the movie, I don't know what it was called. It might have been called Pay It Forward, about the little boy who, did one good act and then challenged people to pay it forward. And really that's it. Sometimes just a simple thing as a smile or patience when you're in the store and there's a backup and people are getting upset and you smile at the cashier and speak kindly to them. Just that one thing can change that person's day, and then they will pay it forward without sometimes even knowing it. They will choose to be kind to another. This is what is meant by the butterfly effect, that one little thing. I'm a person who, especially during this time of year, I start to sometimes watch Christmas movies. And I know, don't tell Bishop Thomas that I am watching Christmas movies before we even get to Advent. But the Great American Family Channel has wonderful Christian movies on. And I happened to see one recently where it was a time travel thing, right? This granddaughter, thinks she knows how her grandmother should have lived her life and choices she had made. So she's going to go back in time to try to change all that. And it really, as I watched it, it explained this butterfly effect, that when she tries to make one change, when this granddaughter tries to make one change by trying to get her grandmother to sell this store because she was always struggling financially with it, everything is affected. Relationships, and all of a sudden she realizes, oh my gosh, if she goes down this road with everything that's coming into play, I may not be born, right? It's an amazing thing. I look even at my own life. My mother had health problems, and she was told after having my oldest brother, her first child, not to get pregnant again. It would kill her. Well, she got pregnant 3 more times. And I'm really glad she did, because I wouldn't be here. My brother Tom, who is a priest, wouldn't be here. My sister Diane, who plays organ and is very active in her church, wouldn't be here. My mom just made that one choice, right? I'm going to listen and trust God's providence in all of this. Now, granted, that was a long time ago, right? My brother Tom will be 80. And so that was 80 years ago. Medicine isn't what it is today, obviously. But still, there was a deep trust that the Lord would take care of her. And even when doctors told her after I was born that she would only live maybe 2 years at the most, go enjoy your daughter because you won't see her grow up. Mom saw me grow up. She died when I was 28. The butterfly effect, right? One little choice, her choice to continue to trust in the Lord. Now that may seem like a big choice, obviously, but that's what we're all faced with, I think, in life. Just little things throughout the day. Be aware that God is at work. He's bringing people into your lives. He's giving you situations to respond with His love.
Absolutely. I love that.